Shadow of the Vampire, a film by E. Elias Merhige, is a film about the making of a film, Nosferatu, and F.W. Murnau's struggles to perfect his art, to get the most accurate depiction of fear and terror of this story of a vampire possible. A very novel approach to making this film. And of course, I mean, there's going to be a lot of movies, especially movies with kind of interesting productions and maybe just notorious in their own kind of ways, whether they are ultimately a good or bad movie. Like we've seen things like RKO 281, making of Citizen Kane. We've seen Hitchcock, the making of Psycho, the Disaster Artist, making of The Room, and stuff like that. So Nosferatu, the 1922 silent film from Murnau, being such an infamous, legendary, and influential film in and of itself, is certainly deserving to have its story heard. But this is anything from a traditional making of kind of film. Like I always think it's kind of an interesting thing how some filmmakers can get together and make art about the making of art, right? So there's an interesting story to tell in that respect. But there's an angle taken here that's quite a little bit different. Of course, this is a historic film, the first vampire film, really. I mean, it beats Dracula to the screen by quite a few years, actually. And of course, it's kind of like a knockoff of Dracula, like in so many ways. It's an adaptation of Dracula, but they had to change things around. It's Nosferatu this time around. No Dracula. We can't mention Dracula. We can't get the rights. They even mention it in this movie. So there's that. But what if, in making this film, in this eccentric director's vision and his drive to make this enduring art, what if he actually found a vampire? And what if he actually put that on screen and that's what we see? How could we know for sure, right? Maybe it is true, but who knows? I mean, the thing is, if I can paraphrase the great critic Roger Ebert, he said that films aren't necessarily about truth. We don't go to films for their footnotes, but we go for a psychological kind of truth, an emotional heart to the story, which is what this movie aims for and what it does so perfectly in this drive of Murnau. And he's played by John Malkovich, brilliant in his performance. You can just see him oozing with this need for perfection and this drive to tell this story that he hopes to last eternal. And film being still kind of this new thing at the time in 1922, this new form of art. He's an artist, right? So he does, in fact, somehow meet a vampire played by Willem Dafoe, of course, playing Max Schreck, played Nosferatu in the film, and he is a real vampire. And he makes this deal with him to play this character in this movie, give it the most accurate feel possible, give it this legitimacy that no one has ever seen before, and the kind of deal with the devil that he strikes with this vampire is that once you've finished your scenes, you can have the beautiful main actress. She's all yours. So that's kind of the deal that they make. But are they playing each other? Are they trying to one up each other or kind of scam each other? And who's really in charge of this situation, right? So that's kind of what the whole concept of the film is, and why they're kind of at odds throughout the entirety of the film, and the tension increases and increases between the two. Renault, of course, isn't the most reliable person, I guess, most trustworthy, not just for his eccentricities, but as we see depicted in the films, in the film here, he has some pharmaceutical indulgences that he partakes in, so he's a little untrustworthy in that respect, and absolutely Shrek himself, the grinning evil vampire that he is, can't necessarily be trusted, and he begins to harm people within this production, and that's much to Murnau's chagrin, right? So they get in arguments about that, and they're great scenes to see these two actors play off each other so brilliantly the way they do, and so committed to their characters in the way that they are. It's wonderful to see. And it is actually very funny, very darkly funny. Like there's one part where he's like, uh, Shrek is like, "Let me eat the writer," and Murnau has to admit that as much as it pains me to admit, the writer is important, right? The you know the conceited director that he is, right? So there's great stuff like that, and it does follow the production in a very clever way, in that we do see kind of replications of the actual film, but with, of course, with these actors in this modern movie. So it makes the illusion of this story, the psychological truth of this story, feel all the more accurate, and we do kind of feel an investment in Murnau's plight. Like we want to see him get this movie. Of course we do. Like if you know you are aware of the movie Nosferatu, you know of course that it does get made, and we're along with him through this strange journey, and as it reaches this resolution, there's still a very good amount of kind of tension. Like it gets pretty outrageous at the end. Actually, like he's Shrek is like advancing upon this actress, the part of his deal, and all that, and he does get to feast on her blood, and people are trying to stop him, and he's like killing people, and well, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but I mean, that's pretty much it. I've probably given away enough. I'll put spoiler warnings here, but it's really really good, and ultimately, yeah, Murnau uses the camera as his weapon against Shrek. So it's great, and I would have to say that as good as the two performances are, I mean, Willem Dafoe playing Max Shrek, playing Nosferatu, it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, this is a fully committed performance. This is top of the line work. This might be his career best. I mean, he is one of my favorite actors, and I think he's done some really incredible performances, but this might be his best. He's incredible. He really is, and of course he was at the time this movie came out. He was nominated for quite a few awards. He did get an Oscar nomination for this. I kind of feel that he should have won. I mean, this is a truly spectacular, creepy, and at times piteous kind of performance that he brings to this character. I think he's absolutely terrific, and I just love the sentiment behind the whole movie. If you love movies, I can't think of a better movie than this. Like when I watch this, I just feel filled to the brim with the love of movies, with knowing about the making of movies, and the weird kind of lengths that directors will go to. Like sure, I mean, yeah, it's not real, it's make believe. It's a great concept that they come up with for having a real life vampire in this old movie, right? But I mean, like when you think of like some things, like uh, Francis Ford Coppola, and the lengths that he went to in Apocalypse Now, and for realism and all that kind of stuff, it's not too far off. So it does very much so tap into that psychological truth. So I love the movie. I think it's great. I think it works as a horror movie in and of itself. And I think it works great as a drama. I think it works great about as a movie about the making of a movie, and it works great as a movie on its own too. Because like when I originally saw this movie, I saw like when it first came to cable. It's probably maybe 12 or so. I have to admit I didn't know of Nosferatu. I wasn't aware of that movie, but I in my younger days, in wanting to just watch a cool vampire movie, I watched it, and I was really thrilled by it. I thought it was really cool, and I think it is a movie that kind of gets better with age, and with every passing year. There's something I like a little bit more about it. Like the more you come to learn and appreciate about the film itself, Nosferatu, the more you come to learn and appreciate about this film. I think they complement each other quite perfectly, and again, the investment you feel with Murnau is very powerful. It's a powerful relationship, not just between the actor and the director within this film, but I think there's a powerful relationship that this plays off with the audience. I think it's superb. And if I can just end this with a quote that I really like from the movie, I'll read that off from its memorable quotes from IMDb. So this is from earlier in the film, just a little montage when they're getting ready to go and film the movie. Our battle, our struggle, is to create art. Our weapon is the moving picture. Because we have the moving picture, our paintings will grow and recede. Our poetry will be shadows that lengthen and conceal. Our light will play across living faces that laugh and agonize. And our music will linger and finally overwhelm, because it will have a context as certain as the grave. We are scientists engaged in the creation of memory, but our memory will neither blur nor fade. So, brilliant film. I love it. Shadow of the Vampire. Excellent, excellent piece of work. John Malkovich, great. Willem Dafoe, great. Cary Elwes is in the movie playing the renegade cinematographer. Shout out to him. He's great in the movie. And also, I think Nicolas Cage is a producer on it. Just random fact there, but yeah, check it out. I love the movie. 31 Days of Horror. Doing plenty more reviews to come for this October horror movie marathon. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, stay scared, and I'll see you later.